Please welcome filmmaker Erin Davis. Erin, hi. Nice to see you. So, what prompted you to explore this whole issue in the first place?
Yeah, well, I was living in New York actually in grad school working as a nanny, and I worked with these kids and had this expectation based on everything I'd heard about children in the media that, oh, they must be addicted to television, they must be addicted to junk food, but really they were truly capable of becoming immersed in interesting activities. If they just had the time and space and materials, they would do some really cool things.
Well, these playgrounds seem very Lord of the Flies. I mean, when's the last time you saw someone with a fire right in the middle of a playground?
Yeah.
I mean, how do they work, and why do you think they're so effective?
Yeah, how do they work? I mean, what happens at the land is completely initiated by children and spontaneous, so you never really know what's going to happen when you show up. Children do have access to things like fire and tools, and they are staffed by adults called play workers, whose role is to specifically support them in doing whatever they want to do.
And this was in Northeast Wales, correct?
Yeah.
So is this philosophy, this trend for allowing kids to kind of be in, I would say, I guess in my parlance, dangerous situations even? I mean, is this a trend that's spreading elsewhere?
Well, they seem dangerous, but they're not actually. In the US, there's as many as 200,000 children go to the ER with playground injuries every year. The land has been open for 2 years with, knock wood, no major injuries, but kids do experience, you know, the sort of rite of passage scraped knees and cuts and scrapes that are normal during childhood.
Right, and
Yeah.
so the advantages of letting kids be in a situation like this are?
The advantages are incredible. I mean, any person who knows anything about early childhood development would say that this is an enriching experience for a child. So why not?
Well, Rusty Keeler is a playground designer. He's also the creator of the Anarchy Zone, one of the emerging adventure playgrounds in Ithaca, New York. So, Rusty, clearly this is a trend that's catching on even here in the United States. What took so long, do you think?
Well, I think you're right that there was this kind of focus in the States on safety, and that traditional playground equipment is good enough, gross motor skills. But suddenly there's been so many incremental changes and restrictions with safety, schools with recess and things like that, that the pendulum, people are feeling the pendulum has swung so far to safety that they're realizing that children need these richer experiences.
So tell us a little bit about the Anarchy Zone, what's there and why you think it's beneficial.
Yeah, it's an amazing place. It's in the middle of the Ithaca Children's Garden in Ithaca, New York, and it's filled just with loose parts, straw bales and boards and tires and pallets, and there's trees to climb, and there are play workers there, and kids can build their own forts and dig in the mud, and we celebrate International Mud Day every year, and we have a fire and ice festival.
There's an International Mud Day?
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
had no idea.
Yes, yep, June, there we go.
Well, look, it does look like so much fun, and Kate Dempfel is a mom of 2 and a huge supporter of letting her kids play freely at the Anarchy Zone. Why do you love it so much?
Well, as a family, we really value creativity and allowing our kids to test their limits and feel capable and sort of develop independent skills on their own. And the Children's Garden allows them to have some risks or perceptions of risks without being over risky. And with the play workers there and within the structure of that space, they have a lot of freedom to sort of figure out what they're capable of and what they're able to do.
Did it take some adjusting for you, Kate? Because, you know, I think our impulse is to make sure our kids, especially I think because many of us probably overprotect our kids, but make sure they're okay when they fall off the jungle gyms. And, you know, if you see a kid fall, you get angry that nobody has come to that child's aid. So I'm just wondering if you had to get adjusted to this.
There's some practice from watching a kid learn to walk. You know, when you watch a kid learn to walk and they fall down and bonk themselves, as the parent you have to practice not freaking out because that creates more fear in the child. Do you know? And so that has sort of extended in our perspective as our kids get older and take more risks, is really waiting to see what their reaction to their experience is before we decide whether it was bad or good or too dangerous experience for them.
Well, a lot of child care experts or people who have written extensively about overprotecting our kids say that when we're so quick to lift up a child, a toddler, for example, if a toddler skins his or her knee, we are so quick to comfort them, they don't really learn the art of self-soothing and kind of how to get themselves together again, and kind of how to really a certain kind of resiliency that is practiced from a very early age. Not everyone apparently thinks these playgrounds are such a good idea. Before the show, we asked some of our audience members what they thought of the concept of free-range play, and Kim Mize is a mom and a middle school teacher. And Kim, you have some concerns about this trend. Tell us about it.
I do have some concerns. I'm concerned more about like the fire and it's not being covered, so the kids can just walk up to it with sticks and poke it, and then all the wood that's there, and they can just put all the wood in the fire. And I mean, is there people there to protect them?
Right, of course, yeah. The playground is staffed by adults called play workers. They have degrees in play work. They have a very specific approach to supporting children in their play. You see an open fire, you think a child's just gonna run and dive into it and burn alive. But children are just smarter than that. They don't do it. It's important to know that at the land, they distinguish between risk and hazard. So they remove things like rusty nails, broken glass, and allow children to take risks.
And
it's
Rusty,
different.
you know, my sister is a landscape architect. She designs playgrounds in Boston. And I talked to her about this whole movement, and she said it was really interesting. But many of the playgrounds that she has designed are uber safe. Do you think that these super safe playgrounds have taken sort of some of the fun out of being a kid?
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, so they're built to be bomb-proof and covered in rubber surfacing, but yeah, they don't give children the opportunity just to kind of dig in and have creative, unstructured play where they can change their own environment. The fixed equipment just doesn't quite get it there.
And Kim, I mean, now that you hear a little more about this, you still have some reservations?
I still do. I think maybe if it's a certain age group, but I don't think like little toddlers. I think the kids need to be mature enough to go in there and maybe know some safety rules and know how to play in there.
Well, certainly you wouldn't want a 2- or 3-year-old necessarily playing around these fire pits that are uncovered.
The land does ask children to be 5 years old before they come on their own, and they often come with older brothers or sisters, cousins, friends, neighbors. And can I say one other thing about fire, actually? I think something that's important to remember is that only a generation ago, people lived with fire in their homes to warm and heat their homes. Throughout history, always, forever, throughout time, people have been drawn to fire. It's where people cook, where they tell stories, sing songs, and gather in community. So being drawn to fire, a child, I mean, this is not delinquent activity. It's very normal.
I don't think anybody worries that it's delinquent. I think they just worry about the safety aspect of it. And you know, that may well be the case, but in this day and age, you don't have fires in your home. And I think there's some concern that some kids may not know the proper way to respect it. And
Sure.
I think the fact of the matter is that there are adults there who can help them learn those skills. What are you hoping, Erin, that people take from this film?
I hope people learn a new word, and that word is play work. I hope people are inspired to engage with their children in a new kind of way and advocate for enriching play opportunities in their communities.